From dunking on LeBron James of all people, to dropping 60 points against the San Antonio Spurs in a thrilling overtime win, here are some moments from Jayson Tatum that shocked fans. To get the ball rolling, let's start with one of the many poster dunks of Tatum's young career. And this one is a special one, coming against the Eastern Conference opponents, the 76ers, back in the 2019-2020 season. But what makes it so special is the fact that Tatum went past one of the best perimeter defenders, Ben Simmons, who was actually good back then. And to make matters more interesting, he dunked over Al Horford, a former teammate too. Sticking it to a teammate always has to mean so much more, doesn't it? But you'd be forgiven for thinking that Tatum's only this effective on one end of the floor, as the Celtics star showcased his two-way threat against the Detroit Pistons in the clutch. Back in early January 2021, the Celtics were taking on the Pistons in a tight game. After a strong effort from the Detroit side, the game was tied as Tatum received the ball with less than 8 seconds left in the fourth quarter. He proceeded to hit a nice little mid-range jumper with under 3 seconds left of regulation. That's a game winner in many games, isn't it? But no, it wasn't going to be that easy for the Pistons that night, and boy did the Celtics make it hard for themselves. The Pistons had already managed to advance the ball, and without the clock ticking, they were inside enemy territory.
Slapped away, but Isaiah Stewart has it deep in the lane, hooks in it. The Pistons lead them by 2 with 42 seconds left. 20 seconds to play. Here's Jeremy spinning to the lane, fires, fills it up, and he drains the deuce, and the Pistons lead by 1 with 19.1 to play.
And with the ball falling to Blake Griffin, who attempted a three-pointer to win the game, many Boston fans had their hearts in their mouths. Heck, I'm not a Celtic fan, but even I wanted that shot to go in. But Tatum wasn't having any of it. He got the game-winning block after his game-winning shot, too. Talk about getting denied. And the best thing is, Tatum's been that consistent on both ends of the floor since he arrived in the NBA. Yeah, his two-way skills were evident from his debut in the NBA against King James's Cavaliers. And it was a special debut. Many people were doubting Jayson before he made it to the NBA, and many criticized the Celtics for picking him at 3rd overall too. I'm absolutely certain those folks aren't talking now. The way he's going about his business, to be honest, would you be surprised if he becomes the best Celtic player of all time?
Jayson Tatum, 44 points. The league's 6th leading scorer, was spectacular and proved that you're amongst the best.
I feel like I'm the best player when I step on the court, but there's some great players in this league, man.
Thank you, Mar. He said he's tired right there. What is overtime period like that? What does that do to your body?
I haven't been playing the best individually and as a team, but man, find a way to get back on track, that felt good.
And the signs were there from the very beginning. Playing against LeBron has to be your biggest test in the NBA, and someone thought it'd be a nice idea to give Tatum the most difficult first match he could dream of. But Tatum has never been one for making excuses, as he rocked up at his NBA debut with a double-double, scoring 14 points and getting 10 rebounds. Did it become the first double-double by a Boston rookie since Larry Bird? Not bad company to keep, huh? But Tatum wasn't exactly done with LeBron. He had some unfinished business against the Cavaliers and LeBron, as he produced probably the best moment of his career with this poster dunk over the King. I would rate it much higher on the shocking scale because of who was at the end of this dunk, but I want to be kind to Tatum, and I don't want to discuss what happened afterwards, so let's just put it in between and talk about more impressive moments later. However, despite what happened after the dunk, the play itself was magnificent. Tatum drove forward with the entire TD Garden behind him and rose up in the air with LeBron James going up too, looking to deny the young star. But Jayson was just a tad bit quicker and slammed it in clean as a whistle. Whew, it was absolutely bonkers. NBA Twitter exploded, and Jayson feels the high, bumps into LeBron right after the play as he yells triumphantly.
Home with the Wind ending a 2-game losing streak and going to 22, and now they got a 7-game homestand in front of them. Valiant effort.
On that very high, I'll take us to the next shocking moment in Tatum's young but brilliant career. The time when he scored a 53-point double-double against the Timberwolves. This remains up there as one of the best performances from any Boston player ever. Tatum was on fire that night, and the Minnesota side didn't have any answers. How do you stop someone from shooting 16 of his 25 shots? The answer is, you don't. You just watch the madness unfold. And that's probably what the T-Wolves were busy doing. It was also a big-time performance from Tatum, who helped his side cut the deficit from double digits in the second half, and guided the Celtics to victory in overtime in a thrilling encounter. Talking about thrilling encounters, you can't overlook the Knicks-Celtics game from the 2019-2020 season when Tatum hit the game winner. Oh man, I remember this game clearly. Both sets of players were unstoppable and kept on making some tough, clutch shots in the fourth. Kemba Walker was on fire for the Knicks, dropping 30-odd points. But it was Marcus Morris, yep, the same Morris who took Tatum under his wing, who taught him a lesson by draining a clutch three with under 5 seconds left on the clock. Now, the Celtics back in 2019 were a very inexperienced outfit, and many believed the game was destined for overtime after that Morris three. But keeping true to the theme of the video, you can probably guess what happened next.
Back out. Nice pump fake by Morris. He just gets that little steady dribble to get his balance.
The ball was inbounded to Tatum. I was sitting right on the edge of my seat because honestly, everyone knew the game wasn't over. And as much as the world wanted more of the contest, everyone was up from their seats as Tatum hit nothing but the net from his corner jumper. Beautiful sequence and clutch play from a fabulous player. But what defines a player is his ability to remain at the very best in the toughest of moments, right? This is what the world got to see when the Celtics took on the Wizards in the 2021 play-in tournament, and Tatum had absolutely no plans of going home that early in the postseason. He'd put in 50 points or more in the last few months on 2 occasions and had been averaging a lot to keep the Celtics in contention for the playoffs. And then on D-Day against the Wizards, Tatum exploded once again. He scored 50 points with 8 rebounds on just under 50% shooting in what would be an impressive win. But it gets even better as Tatum dropped another 50, this time against the KD and Harden-led Brooklyn Nets, in what remains his most impressive performance to date. Yes, he scored more, and I'll add that next, but this helped the Celtics get their only win of that series. And Tatum scored 53 with 7 rebounds and 6 assists in a game where Harden and KD combined for 80. Still though, the youngster helped his team win their only game of the playoff series, even though they were knocked out. However, Tatum's most shocking moment came against the San Antonio Spurs, as he produced his best statistical performance to date, scoring 60 points in an overtime win. He's not a streaky player, because calling him streaky would be unfair, but Tatum kind of just runs away at times and showcases just how good he is. Unfortunately for the Spurs fans, Tatum's best performance in terms of points came against them in an overtime win, and even though the Spurs were really good, they just didn't have an answer to Tatum's brilliance. And they were sick of Tatum because the Spurs were actually 32 points ahead. Can you believe it? But Jayson didn't give up that night and ended it with a late win in overtime. That's all I had on the Jayson Tatum moments that shocked fans.